Hey guys, Mudslinger 2 back at you. I know it's been a little while, but asphalt season's dying down, and gives me a little time to throw some videos out there, let you in on something that I know, that I've experienced. So today we're gonna do a review on some fishing line. Um, this is a braided line, 4 strands braided, 40 pounds. Test, high vis yellow. This is a Mounchain extreme braid. I bought this. It's 474 yards, something like that. It was 1175 around on Amazon, um, and that's a little on the cheap side. But I looked at a lot of the reviews, and a lot of the reviews, people were saying great line, blah blah blah, hooked into some really heavy sets, and the line handled well. I don't know what kind of heavy sets they were hooking into. Guppies, bluegill, maybe some minnows that are real fat. But me, myself, I'm a cat fisherman. And if you're pulling up a 30-pound cat, which I do kind of often, uh, this line is not going to do it for you. So I don't know about their heavy sets, what they're pulling up. Maybe they had a 100-pound test. I don't know. But 40-pound test, we'll get into it. But like I said, I'm a cat fisherman, not a sport fisherman. I don't practice catch and release unless it's something too small. I'll obviously throw it back, or if I reach my limit, I'll throw it back, or I'll go home. Um, but other than that, I fillet and release, so I can eat it later. That's the way I like to do it. I don't hunt for sport. I don't fish for sport. I hunt for food. I fish for food, the way God intended it. But back to the line. It's a 4 strand, 40-pound braided line. Now, when I got it home, you can see the spool's still full. When I got it in the mail, first thing I did is I hooked it up to my scale and I tested it. And I'm glad that I did, otherwise I'd be fit to be tied if I spooled 6 reels with this first, because what I had is on my scale when I'm pulling on this line, I had one failure at 22 pounds out of like 10 tests. All the other failures happened around 17 pounds, 18, 19. There were a couple at like 16. Now, as a 40-pound test, I know that, being as cheap as it is, I was expecting it maybe to fail around 30, 35, maybe right at the 40, but 17 is just ridiculous. Right now, I use a spider wire monofilament, so I want to switch to braid because braided line doesn't have as much memory. So when it's spooled around your reel, when you throw it out, it's straight instead of having the little whoop-de-whoops on the top of the water where if you got a current where it's sucking your line and your rig back in and it's getting twisted up. Braid won't do that to you. And braided line, a lot of times, if you get good line, it's actually rated low, meaning if you got a 40-pound test, it might not have a failure to 50 pounds, 48 pounds, something like that. And it's typically thinner than a mono, which is another thing about this. I'm sure this won't come off good on tape, but this is a good amount thicker than I looked at a Power Pro 50-pound. Now this is 40-pound. The Power Pro 50-pound is, well, it's a much better line, but it's thinner than this 40-pound line. So that'll give you an idea. But I also, when I was doing a test, I tested my spider wire mono, and my spider wire mono, which is a 20-pound, was breaking at about 19 and a half pounds is when I experienced a failure. Whereas a 40-pound line was breaking anywhere between 15 and 18. I mean, if nothing else, it should give me double. And I'm not talking about all knot breaks. Some of them were right in the middle. I know where the knot is. It's a little more susceptible to a break. So You know, I'm not doing it like a dum dum. I know fishing line. I know fishing. Um, but some of them were not breaks. Some of them were in the middle of the lines. Um, like I said, I did it 10 times on the same exact rig. I put a scale on a pole, had a lever system, so it wasn't, I'm not shaking. It's all mechanical where I can read the dial as it breaks. But that being said, I would steer clear of this. I don't want anybody spending money. Luckily, I bought it through Amazon, and so I don't have to rely on the manufacturer to give me my money back. Amazon just says, hey, give him his money back, bring it to the UPS store, and you'll get your money back. So I'm going to take it back, get my money back. I don't want anybody else. I don't know. There's probably not many people who would bring the line home and test it. Then there's me. But most people probably just go, oh, this is a pretty good line. And they're catching, 5-8 pound fish, which is, a nice 5-8 pound catfish. That's awesome. If I hooked into a 30-pound catfish with this on my line and it broke right in the middle of my line and I lost a 30-pound catfish plus my rig, I would be devastated. So steer clear of this. I personally would recommend you spend a little bit of extra money, get a quality line. You got Power Pro braid. I believe it's an 8-strand braid. You got Suffix. You got a Berkeley Fire line. You got a Spider Wire braid. All of those are good, top-notch braids. Most of those are rated. If, say, you get a 50-pound line, that 50-pound line won't snap to around 60 pounds or so. Actually, they've done some research on them, not myself, but some of the research that I've read. At a 30-pound line with all of those different manufacturers, a 30-pound line is not snapping or experiencing failure till 50, 54, 56 pounds. That's a 30-pound line. So this is 475 yards for 12 bucks. Now with one of those manufacturers, you're probably going to get 110, 115 yards for about 16, 17 bucks. But do you want to actually put the fish in a boat or pull them up on shore that you catch, or do you want to break your line and lose your rig? So I'd rather pull them up on shore with my 20-pound spider wire. And if you want to go with a monofilament, spider wire is really, it's where it's at. 20-pound spider wire, I've pulled 15-pound cats up on it. Now, it's not about the dead weight of the fish. Sometimes, you're pulling in the fish, and they play lazy for a little bit, and then they hit it. When they hit it real hard, if you got a 15-pound cat, he might be putting 22 pounds of pressure on that line when he hits it. Haven't broken line on a cat yet. I've had a couple hooks that, to my dumbness, I got a 20-pound test and I got a 10-pound hook, but so I've had a couple straighten out some hooks on me because I just wasn't thinking about the rig that I had on and where I was and what kind of fish I'd be catching. But that part's my fault. But all of that being said, steer away from this. Get yourself some good line. Catch some big fish. Don't waste your time. Be careful. Be safe. We'll be talking to you.